Like my audio's on. I didn't bring my nice microphone, but I'm actually not sure the cord would reach, so maybe that's all right. So good afternoon. Welcome to Applied Digital Studies. We've got a few people here in the classroom and many more people online. And as I was just telling the in-person people today, the plan is to try to help people solve some problems and see if I can help you make your website all that it can possibly be. So I will get started with that shortly. But basically, if you have a question, my idea is like if you have a question like how do I XYZ, put that in the Discord or just ask me verbally, and I'm going to add them to this list here that you can see on my doc cam is projecting this whiteboard here. So I know images is a question people have, so I want to talk about images. I'll do that first because that's the only question I know of, and also Olivia was just asking about that on the stream, on Discord. But if you have other questions, other things you'd like to try, there's a whole lot of other things that I have not even touched on and you may not have seen. Things like background colors and fonts. So if there's something that you specifically wanted to try and you weren't sure how to do it, please let me know and I would love to try to show you if I can. Sometimes, I might not know how to do it, or it might be something that I have to look up, but I'm happy to do that on the stream if I need to. But yeah, how did your websites turn out? I think I saw yours, Sally. It looked pretty elaborate. Like you look like you were doing multiple pages, right? Like you had a whole thing going.
Yeah, so I have 5 pages. 2 of them I haven't put anything on, so I put the under construction.
There you go. Yeah, period appropriate, definitely.
Yeah.
What I think you shared it already in Discord, right? So.
It's also on the web ring.
Oh, good. Of course. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know where it is on the web ring, but let's see. So I just mentioned the web ring. If you have not had a chance to see it yet, I did add. I sent an announcement where I mentioned I do have some more web rings you can join now. So if you would like to, then you certainly may. Let me actually switch my OBS scene over here so I can show you things a little bit more easily on the big browser. So these are all hosted at webrings.dgst101.net. So this is actually like a hub for all of the web rings that I have, and I went with like a period appropriate design. Oh, actually, I need to turn on the screen so you all can see what I'm doing. Hopefully that works now. And I went for a 90s style design. It looks pretty ugly. That's on purpose, but it is as a result of being super ugly, kind of hard to see. So if you look down, like each of these web rings has its own like graphic thing, and so the idea is you can click on the join us link above that one to join it. So I just have 4 so far. There's the default kind of generic one that everyone should join, and then there's a TV one and a gaming one and an animal lovers one. So whichever of these seems appropriate, please join them. But if you're not sure, if you don't fit into any of these categories, then at least join the DGSC 395, the main one, and I would love to have your site included. So let's see, we can, yeah, there we go. So let's see if this works. Oh, it's not working. Yeah, okay, maybe it's done. Oh, good. This is you, right? Excellent. All right. So we have all kinds of things about swimming. I guess I should do a sports theme or aquatics theme or something. I don't know. Great. Rules and strokes. Yeah. Good information. Nice. All right. Under construction. Yep. Swimming. All right. Great. Whoa. Was that a fish?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Do you have that set up as a background image on that area? Okay. Nice. It's a different use of a background image, but that's kind of what people did. Like, you just sort of try different things, see what happens. So yeah, it looks great. Everything we need to know about swimming. So I love it. Okay, let's see. Let me see if the next works here. Okay, maybe it really likes Emily's site. I wonder. I wonder if that always happens. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. Those Isley Mavens. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I bet this is Rachel's site, and it is. So Star Wars fan. Cool. Whoa. That's a little crazy. I love it. Okay, so let's see if the next works from here. Huh, okay, interesting. It seems to really like Emily's page, which I like it too, but I want to understand why it's doing that. Oh yeah, planet side. Oh boy, those colors. Crystal, yeah. Crystal did a lot of cool moving around things. I really like, I don't know if you're watching Crystal, but I really like what you did with this. Oh, and you joined the animals ring too. Okay. I guess, yeah, I don't know. Crystals aren't, I guess that's the best fit. Okay, great. So here's Siobhan's. It's helping her. She should probably join the animals web ring with hers. But yeah, there's back to Emily. Back to hedgehogs. Okay, I want to see maybe if I can debug this a little bit and figure out why it's doing that. Can't really think of anything. It's supposed to, so, okay, interesting. So what is supposed to be happening with this WebRing software is it's supposed to be like, oh, I'm on this page, so I know what the previous one and the next one is. Like, it's supposed to be aware of, like, when you embed it in your web page, it looks up your web page in this list, and then that's how it determines if you're, like, where you are in the previous next ordering. So it's a little strange that it seems to really like this one. Well, I don't know why. But let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yes. Okay, so I don't know. I wonder. Like this is written in PHP 3, which we're on PHP 7 now. So it's like, and that's a long time in PHP versions. So there could be some issue related to that. But I'm going to need to take a closer look at the code, but maybe I'll do that later because it's not that interesting. So anyway, I will be curious to see if the same thing happens on the other web rings, if it always kind of sends the next one to the second. Like if next always takes you to the second one, it shouldn't. It should always take you to whichever the next one is. But maybe it's having a hard time finding your sites in here. Yeah, like, so it could be like the HTTP versus HTTPS. It could also be, some of you have like capital letters in your file names, which is how you wrote it. But if you look at it, like, I'll just take a look at this one. Your Chrome browser is probably going to make that into lowercase. Or no, it isn't. Okay. But it does for subdomains. So if you capitalize a subdomain, like you actually can't capitalize a subdomain. Like you may not know that, or you may have created it with a capital, but or attempted to, but it actually created with a lowercase because you can't have uppercase in domain names. So that could be a slight issue with mismatching it. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it later. But anyway, let's talk about images because that's a question that many of you may have, and some of you, it seems are still working on your sites, and that's fine. Like if you need a little bit more time, that's okay. And my intention is to talk about these things. So let me switch over to my kind of working setup here, and let's see. Okay, so let me just add a note here. So you see Gracie's question, and yes, Emily, maybe it is just a big fan of Pokemon. So Gracie also had a question about uploading, and so I will get back to that. Just one hint is that WordPress is not at all involved in this project. So if you're doing anything in WordPress, you're not in the right place. So if that distinction isn't clear, then I will explain it later. But just a heads up now, like this is not, we haven't touched WordPress at all with this project, and we shouldn't. But let me go through images briefly here, and then I will do this in a version that's, yeah, no, I'll do it kind of like to answer two people's questions at once, because Jessica also had a question about getting images specifically from that archive site that I sent you all. So let me see if I can do that in this one. So that was textfiles.com/under-construction/dingbats. So this is a bunch of images from GeoCities, and I'm just going to grab one. I'll just find one I like. Bunch of letters. Okay. Oh, a background image. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to do this background image. This looks really ugly. Let me try it. So what you do to get an image, just if you're not clear on how to do this, is you right-click on it, and I guess OBS probably isn't showing it, but in Chrome, when you right-click, you have an option to save image as, or it might be called save file as, or something along those lines. So on this page, that's what's going to work. You can right-click and then save as, or something along those lines. So when I save this image, it pops up. It's called lbowties.gif, which is a strange name, but fine. And I'm going to save this. Let me switch over here so you can see where I'm saving this. I'm going to save this in the retro project folder that I've set up on this computer to demonstrate how to do things. And this is important. So this is a step that could lead you astray if you don't do it right. So, or if you get lost about, or you get confused about which version of which file you're working on. I have one folder on my computer that is my project. And so I recommend you do the same thing. Have one folder on your computer that is your web project, because it will have multiple files in it. They need to be together. So keep them together on your computer, keep them together on your website, and you'll have a good time with that. So I'm going to say this here, lbowties.gif, and now it's on my computer, and now I can include it in the code that I've been working on my computer. So let's see if that looks right. So yeah, there it is. So I have a few other images here too. I have lbowties.gif, which I just added, and then I have retrohomepage.html, which is the file I've been editing in Sublime Text in order to create a web page, and I've been previewing it locally on my computer. So let me switch back here to this display so I can show you how I did that. This is on the left, you can see the source code of the image of the retro homepage that I'm working on. I just have to get the right window up here. And I'll do that with by Control O. I'm going to open this page to see what it looks like right now. Good. Okay. So this is, I was messing around with different things in here and practicing images with the section 2, I think. But this is going to demonstrate how to do that process from beginning to end. So I saved that file lbowties.gif onto this computer, and I'd like to include it now. I'll just put it near the top so you can see it. I'm going to find Sublime Text here and scroll down a bit, and this is going to go in the body tag. This is important. The head and the body tag are separate. They do different things, and so they should not overlap each other. And when you want to see something and it's an HTML thing, you want to put it in the body. So the body contains the things that you can see when you're creating HTML. So I'm going to put that bow ties GIF just above this H1 element that says vampires are friends. So this is the image tag. It's IMG, and then it's a tag that doesn't have a opening part and a closing part. It's just one part that closes itself with the / at the end like that. Within the image tag, there are several attributes that we need to give it, and an attribute is a name-value pair. This is what the syntax looks like. So a name, equal sign, and then a value. This is not the actual thing you write. This is a placeholder to show you the syntax. So an attribute has a name and it has a value that you set to that particular attribute. So the one that we want, the most important one for an image is source, or src, and then the value that we give it needs to be a path to an image file. And the nice thing about having your images all in the same folder as your HTML document is that in that situation, the path is just the file name. You don't have to include any / or other things to kind of navigate the browser to find that. It just is right there, and that's all you need to do. So that keeps things simple for you. So I assume this works, but I will double check here. Let's see. I just hit save, Control S, so I can tell that I don't have any unsaved changes because Sublime Text, the little button in the tab here, turned from a circle to an X. And then if I refresh here, I should see it. There it is. Yeah, so it just showed up here in the middle. Again, a pretty ugly image. I don't know why you would want it, but there it is. That's included that image, and it seems to work. I'm not done, however, because I have created an image, but I need to add a few more attributes to really do it the right way. The second most important attribute is called alt, A-L-T, and alt is an alternative value, and so this means something that's going to display in case the image doesn't, or in case the person viewing the page can't see the image, which those are two different questions. It could be something wrong with my file, prevents it from loading, or it could be the network crashes or something right at the last second before the image loads, or it could be that the person accessing my website actually literally can't see it because they can't see, and in that case they have software reading the contents of the web page to them, and they need that software needs to know what this is an image of. So an alt attribute here could be something like ugly tiling bow tie pattern. I mean, this is not a real image I would ever include like this, but you can kind of see the point there. That's all you need to do. Something like that that describes the image. You know, it's not important in this case, this particular image, but it might have been. And if your images are important, you should definitely make sure you're describing them. Okay, so let's see. Let's see, good. Okay, so that's how to include an image with an image tag, and this is images as content. You might also be trying to do images as background decoration, and that is a slightly different process that you can see here. I've already done it to get this kind of tiling. I don't know what that is. I think it was a Pokemon, but I don't recognize that Pokemon. Is that a? Do you all recognize that Pokemon? Is it? Do you know what it's called? I don't know. Okay. We were talking about Pokemon. It's what? Yeah, it looks cute. It's got the Pokemon eye type, you know, so it probably is a Pokemon. I think I found it by Googling like Pokemon tiling backgrounds. But the way I've included it here is a little different. I didn't use an image tag in this case. I used a style sheet. And a style sheet is CSS, or cascading style sheets. It's a whole set of things. It's an abstraction built on HTML, and really too much to get into the entirety of CSS, except that you can use little things, little bits of code from CSS to apply a lot of stylistic differences to your website. In general, the hierarchy goes that HTML should be about your content and like what it means and why it's there. And then CSS is about decoration and presentation and making it look good. So the background image is that latter kind of thing. It's just there to make the site look nice or give it a flavor or set an atmosphere. So that's why it belongs in CSS. For CSS, the syntax is very different from HTML, but it's based on HTML. Like I said, it's an abstraction. So this block right here is called a selector, and this is, or a declaration block rather, and this declaration has several parts to it. The first is the selector, and the selector here says which part of the web page am I going to be decorating or doing something to. And the body contains everything that we see. And so this is what, if we want something to be in the background all the time, then we want to apply that change to the body. And in this case, I've got two things happening to the body. First of all, it's going to be light blue, or it's going to use the image. And I say or because this is a sequence. So the web page is going to read the most recent thing first and try that, like the last thing. It's going to try that first, and if it fails to load that background image, we will see a light blue background instead of this Pokemon in a wreath or whatever that is. So to change it out, like this works the same way as the source attribute in the image tag, where we have to give it a path to a file. And it's a lot easier to do that if you can use your keyboard. It's what? Muna? Okay. Great. I don't know that one. Most of my Pokemon knowledge is from I play Pokemon Go sometimes, but not as much lately. But it's something that I used to do a lot. So that's, I don't recognize this thing from that yet. Maybe not. I mean, they unroll they unveil new Pokemon every now and then, so maybe it's in there by now. But I don't know. I haven't seen it. So elbow ties a GIF. So this should look terrible. Let's see. Yep, there it is. So if that's what you want, that's great. But you know, I don't recommend that. Really, it's too busy. Like you can see the issue because, like you can see Vampires Are Friends kind of okay because the font is so large, but you can't see this at all. Like you can't see the black text in front of this background at all. Not only is the background kind of dark, it's busy. There's like a lot of detail and visual stuff that's distracting and sort of makes you nauseous to look at. So I really don't like this background image at all. But you know, that's sort of how things went. Also, I noticed it's oh no, okay, this is the embedded one. That's why it's kind of looks out of place right there. I thought the tiling was messed up, but in any case, when you set a background image value in CSS, it's going to go left and it's going to go left to right and then kind of in a zigzag fill in the background. And that's what this is happening here. It's an image that's designed to tile. So when you do one copy and then the next copy, the next copy, the next copy, it's going to create a seamless look. And that was a pretty typical thing to do back in the olden times. But you can actually do a lot more with background images now. Like you can have it only tile one direction or tile this direction, so you can get cool gradient effects. Or you could have just like a landscape in the background that kind of automatically crops to be about the right proportions. Like you can do a lot more cool things now with the background property in CSS. But for now, just if you wanted something like this, I would say just copy what I have here. Within the syntax of CSS, this is the name of a property, background image, and then this is the value that I'm setting to it. So it's kind of like an attributes where you have a name value pair, except it's different syntax, it's a different context. So background color, again, is the property, then light blue is the value. In CSS, the syntax goes, well, I'll show you the generic syntactical unit of CSS goes like this. You have a selector, then you have curly brackets, and then within the curly brackets you have property value pairs. And you can see I'm typing this in Sublime Text, and Sublime Text is automatically adding the right syntax, the right punctuation. Like I just typed a colon, but it automatically added a semicolon and put my cursor in front of the semicolon. So anyway, that's the CSS structure. But I really just would recommend applying little changes like that, little things to make it do those things that you want. And I can show you those things if there's something specific that you want. So hopefully that helps. But I want to see. Olivia had a question, and I don't know if she's still seeking assistance or if anyone's been able to do that yet. Okay, good. So I don't know if Olivia is watching right now, but I'm going to take a minute and try to debug her situation and see if I can help her out. Let me see. So other people may have the same kind of questions, so hopefully that's a good thing to do. Okay, so classical horror movies.oliviamore.info. Cool. Okay, so I like already just the design. I like the italics, and I like the way that she's got a margin here. So this is good. Let's take a look. Now, something you may not know, I guess, is that on any website that you see on the internet, you can look at how it's made by viewing the source. And so if I go right-click and then View Page Source, which is Control-U, or like on a Mac, it's like Command-Option-U. You can view the page source. So I can see the code that Olivia wrote and uploaded here. And so I can see how she did that. So the idea of putting the left and right margins, I can see that she did that by adding putting a 200 pixel margin on the left and right of all the paragraph elements and all of the heading elements, or the H2 elements at least. And that's a reasonable way to do that. That's fine. But let's see if I can figure out what's going on with the images. Well, I don't see any image tags, so that's one thing. So I mean that's probably the main thing. So if yeah, so Olivia, if you there are two things that you need to do to get this here. You need to first upload your images to your domain in that same folder that you put this file here, this HTML file. If you do that, then you can add an image tag here, and then you should see it, once those are synced. So there's not really anything you've done wrong here, except that there aren't any images, and I don't see the thing that you have done to try to put an image here. So I don't know if you say you've tried some things that aren't working. So if you've tried something, if you have that code that's not working, if you could send a screenshot in there. Let me see. I'm just going to type here because I see it looks like you're online right now, Olivia. So I'm just going to type a message here to you. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, what is this? HEIC? I don't know what that. I'm not familiar with that file extension. Huh. That's odd. Do you all, any of you recognize that file extension?
No, but I did look.
Oh, okay, I'll try it on my Mac. Maybe it's like a Mac thing. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's what I'm seeing too, Olivia. But that's what I'm seeing on the code you've uploaded. It looks pretty much the same, but there's no image tags there. So that's kind of the main thing. So let's see. So I'm just going to type to you as well in case you're not able to see this. So what are your image files names? Or one of them. And I think the point that Olivia's at is I think the biggest challenge I find students deal with in this project is like understanding like where files are in relation to each other, and that's pretty important. But having that be a relative relationship on your computer and a relative relationship on your web server, and those needing to be in sync, like that's all the things. There's lots of pieces you have to kind of keep balanced and keep tied together the right way. And if you're not used to thinking of your computer that way or the web that way, then it definitely could be a challenge. And that's all right. I'm here to try to help. Okay. Okay, now the code looks right. Code looks right if you have a file named psycho.jpg. So the slash is correct. Let's type in the optional. Okay, so good. So the view is that file in the same folder on your computer. In other words, is it in the same folder as the HTML document that you're editing on your computer? Okay, good. So so it's on line 33. Oh, it is. Yeah. Okay. It is in your screenshot. I didn't see it. Is it on your web server? And if not, yeah. So you're. Yeah. Why don't we do it this way? Let's try to get it on the website so that I can actually see your code when you upload it. But is it upload your? Let's see. So if it's on your subdomain, I should be able to see it by typing in this address here. And it's showing me that it's not. So we need to make sure that it is online on your subdomain in the same folder as in the classic horror movies.oliviamore.info folder. And it's showing me right now that it's not, because I can see that when I try to browse to that location, it shows me that it's not found. So that's one thing. But also, so do that first, and then I'll guide you through the image tag, like get that uploaded to your subdomain, or make sure you can find the folder and so on. Let's see. Okay. And I'm going to see if I can assist Gracie as well. All right. So I looked at Sally's site. DJ, how's your site coming along?
We kind of went through it at one point.
Oh, yeah?
That's starting page up there.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah, so.
I have a project that I did, I think, last year, where I essentially unintentionally made a background that could work for this, but
Okay.
I can't get it into it.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I can probably help. A background image?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's see. Have you tried something already? Oh.
Well, I made some adjustments.
Okay.
Now. And I have to fill up here.
Okay, I can tell you one thing just briefly, and then I'll see what's going on. But this WebRing code right here, you've got this in your head part of this document, so it's not actually, that's why it's not showing up. Yeah, so put it down here anywhere before body closes. So that'll fix that issue at least. And let's see. Okay, let's see. Shouldn't seem brief. Okay, so okay, so Gracie, what you've got is a little complicated, but I can explain what it is. I don't know if this will make sense to you, but I'll do my best. So you've got okay, let me pull it up on the main screen so I can talk through it. You've got two subdomains, which is fine, but I can see it might be a little disorienting. Like, so let me see if I can untangle it a little bit. You don't have to change anything, so I want to be clear about that, but I want to show you what you've got to maybe make sense of it. And if you I could probably help you untangle it too, but at least the way it is right now, I think just understanding where you are with things might be helpful. So you've got a few, let me kind of break down the pieces of what you've got here. So this is graciepack.com, that's your primary domain name. And then you've got a subdomain called DGSD101, and then you've got a subdomain called DGSD395. So this actually works. As you can see, it actually is pointing to your website. The part of your website that it's pointing to is a subdirectory of that subdomain called blog. So this is all the nesting that you've got here. This looks like just an empty WordPress installation, so you may have installed this by accident, or maybe you thought this is what you should do. You could delete this, like you could uninstall this this WordPress and you'd be fine. And I say you'd be fine because watch this. So if I delete blog from the URL, am I showing you the right thing? Can you see my? Yeah. So if you delete blog from the URL, you get to the top level of this subdomain, and in that top level, I can see you've got a page here called retrohomepage.html. So I bet that's what you were looking for. I bet that's the file that you wanted to see. And if I click that, I can see an actual HTML page that you've probably created. So that your content is there. It's just finding it might have been the issue. So this is, I'll post this link in Discord just to make sure that this is, that you have this. So I will, and hopefully you're watching too. So, okay, that looks a little complicated, but fine actually. Here's the HTML page I think you've been working on. Okay, so. Cool. So let me know how if that makes sense. I mean, if you remember how you put that page, how you uploaded that, then that's fine. Just kind of keep doing that. Like keep working on that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's see how Olivia's doing. Okay, great. So Olivia says she's got hers uploaded. So let's take a look. And let's see if we got the JPEG there. So I still don't see it on the subdomain. So this would be a chance to double check. So this is. So Olivia, you'd probably be looking for, like, this is where you go into your file manager and look for a folder in there called classichorrormovies.oliviamore.info, and then put the JPEG in that folder. And I'm not seeing it there yet. And because if you put anything in that folder, you can access it by going to that URL. In this case, classichorrormovies.oliviamore.info / that file name. So I don't know what you've called this particular file, maybe home.html, and that's going to do. There. Yeah, I can see why this would be confusing, Olivia. And this is if you don't. Hold on, let's see. Let me just double check something here. No, okay. I'm just checking alternative spellings. Olivia, if you don't mind sharing a screenshot of your file manager, that would probably help me kind of verify that it's the place that it should be and that you think it is. Because that's kind of the question. Yeah, no worries. Oh, there we go. I mean, it might help, but it's the, yeah, you don't need the CGI one, but if it won't hurt to put it there either. All right, let's see. Interesting, okay. Oh. There it is. So this is what happened. So you've written it with a capital P in the actual file name, and what I was typing in had a lowercase p. Also, what you showed me in your first source code had a lowercase p. And the thing that you'll notice, and this is an example of it, in web stuff, in URLs and file path names, sometimes things are case sensitive and sometimes they're not. And that actually can be changed server by server. So you can't really know for sure ahead of time. So as a rule of thumb, I always name files lowercase letters only, no spaces ever, but all lowercase names, just so I don't have to remember if it's case sensitive or not, and if I capitalized or not. So just as a rule of thumb, and just maybe going forward, just keep that in mind too. Always use lowercase. So you could rename it on the server if you want to, or just make sure you type it the right way in your code, but that's something to check for, and it does make a difference in this case. You can see one issue where it sort of doesn't matter is like, it looks like you capitalized it, classic horror movies, when you created the subdomain, but as you can see that you can't actually have a capital letter in a subdomain, and so whenever Chrome views it, it just shows up as classic horror movies, all lowercase. So another example of like, keeping these lowercase is gonna possibly help avoid confusion later, but the way you've got it does work as long as you remember what is capitalized and what's not. So let's see. So if you upload your source code with that correction, then we'll probably see that. But let me just kind of see if you don't have that yet. So yeah, try that. Try changing that in your source code and uploading it and seeing if that works. Okay, so how are we doing on time? Okay, yeah, just a little bit of time left. So what other questions are there? So let me see if there's anything else in Discord. Okay, great. So there's the web ring, great. Okay, cool. So did you try to do the background yet? Oh, okay, nice.
That's my problem. I put it in there, but I don't know what happened.
Okay, so a couple of things could have happened, and I can try to debug it. But one of the first things is actually pretty similar to what I was just telling Olivia. Is you want to avoid you want to avoid spaces in file names, because let me show you. Like I don't remember if parentheses require an escape code, but spaces do. So let me show you what this might be hosted at. So like you can't usually type spaces like here. You'd have to do it. You have to replace it with the appropriate URL escape sequence, which is %20. So this might work. Yes, that works. So you could type it that way in your CSS, or just rename it something like background.png. Yeah, you can do underscores if you need to, if it's complicated and you need to separate things. But yeah. So lowercase letters and numbers and underscores are always allowed, and so that's all I use basically. So yeah. So try that, and that's a cool image. So yeah, it seems on brand. It seems like the right tone for what we're doing here. Cool. So try that and see how that goes. Let's see. Somebody's. Okay, yeah. So Phoenix 22 is giving you kind of a complicated way to do it, which is great if you want to do it that way. But you want to be, you have to kind of choose your battles basically, right? So like if you want to do it the CSS way, then that's awesome. But we'll kind of start with kind of making sure things are visible. Okay, so then Gracie, if you've got your file manager open so this is KGP Gracie had a question about, where did your site go? Oh, I had it up here in this other browser. So if you've got your background image uploaded here, I could probably see it this way. I don't see it unless you've uploaded it. So I don't see it yet. So remember, two things have to happen. Both the image has to be on your subdomain, and your code has to be updated to include that code that points to that image. And yeah, Sally, if you could help too, that'd be great. I can see you typing on there. Yeah. So. All right, so Gracie, do you have access? Are you looking at that in your file manager, or do you know how to find that in your file manager? That's an important question. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's definitely been updated. Do I love elephants? Yes. Who doesn't? Okay, so let's see how. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but the Internet Explorer looks like it actually has the same debugger kind of thing that Chrome does. So maybe it's not as terrible as I usually think it is, but it probably is. It's probably something about this is terrible because it's the Internet Explorer. But let's see. So yeah, looking okay so far, and let's see what else I can find. Yep. Okay. Great. So this code looks good, Gracie. I think it's one of those stylistic things where you're supposed to, but it works without. But yeah, background.jpg. So Gracie, if you're watching, you should upload elephantbackground.jpg into that subdomains folder, and probably we will see it. And also the reason it didn't show up on mine at first is that my browser had cached a copy of your page before you updated it. And that does happen frequently, like as you're working on stuff like this. So just if you ever are in that situation where you think you've updated it, but you're not seeing any updates and you're not sure if your browser has cached a copy, you can force your browser to request a new copy of the file from the server by clearing the cache or doing what's called a hard refresh. And in Chrome, you hold Control and then, or no, is it just Shift? Or maybe just click and hold. What is it? There's something. Well, the command line, the keyboard shortcut is Command Shift R. It's going to be a hard reset or hard refresh. I don't know why you can't. Maybe right click on it now. They've changed this, or it's different on Mac, maybe. Alt. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it used to be just hold it, and then it would show up as like it'll give you the options to hard refresh or simple refresh. So yes. Oh, you do see elephants. Great. Let's see. I want to see elephants. Okay, yeah. So I definitely see elephant background.jpg is there, so that's good. And let's take a look at the page. Hey, there they are. Excellent. Those are cute. So good. So that works. And that's the idea, right? Yes. So let's see if there's a elephant. Yes. Elephants. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. All right. So we're just a few minutes left. So are there any other questions or things that you would like to try, or any like how do I do this kind of things, or any things to troubleshoot? Sally, was there anything you were trying to figure out how to do that you weren't sure about? You're pretty good, you think? Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think your site looks great, so I don't have any recommendations really, so that's fine. DJ, anything else you were trying to figure out? Okay, fine. And also, once you've got it working, you can, of course, keep iterating and adding new images. Did you get your background image working now?
Still like that.
Oh, okay. Well, what's?
Change the name of the thing, so it didn't have any spaces, but
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't upload it.
Okay. Well, yeah, you got to do that. You can also change the file name in the file manager. Like there's a place you can click, and then there's a option that says rename up at the top of the file manager window, and you can rename it just on the server. But I think it's better to have them same, like make it the same on your computer first, and then on the server, so that so you're not out of sync with each other. All right. Well. We can figure that out. Let's see if anyone's added. Okay, cool. It looks like a bunch of new sites have been added to the web ring as I've been talking, so that's good. So I've got, well, a couple of these are doubles, but that's all right. So yeah, I already had yours, but it's fine to have it twice. All right, and crystals too. I've got crystals twice, but again, not a big deal. But those all look okay. Like the URLs look fine for what they need to be. So, jokes. Oh, is there an audio file for this, Cassie? Okay. Great. We'll take a look at that later. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up then pretty soon, unless there's any other questions. And I love what I'm seeing, by the way, everyone kind of helping each other figure these things out. Just kind of the issue, as you're seeing, is that you can be at several different points in this project, and it's sometimes hard to figure out where you are, like figure out what point you're at. And also, it's hard to communicate about it in some cases if you're not familiar with the terminology and you're not sure kind of how to describe your problem. It can be tricky to figure out how to ask for help. But please do ask for help, and I will do my best to work through it and help you kind of figure out where you are. If you would like to have a video consultation, if anyone would like to talk that way, then I'm happy to do that. If you are still working on this project even into next week, I'd be happy to meet with you online on a video chat on Tuesday or Thursday. If you don't want to wait that long and you want to see if there's someone else to get help from, the Digital Knowledge Center does have tutors that can help you with these kinds of things. So if you go to dkc.umw.edu, then you have, am I still showing you all that? Yeah. Okay, so you can book an appointment, and let's see. I'm not sure. Yeah, so it works through EAB, so I can't log in. Like if I log in, it won't let me make an appointment because I'm a faculty member, but you all can, and you should take advantage of the things that they can help you with up there. Let's see, I think we can look at the appointment types here. Yeah, so they have an HTML and CSS appointment type that you can do. You can reserve an appointment there, and it's probably going to be Alyssa helping you if you do want to do it that way, and she can help you with some things, help you figure some things out. So yeah. So Maggie just posted the question. It's due today, so anytime today is fine. But don't stress out too much about the reflection itself. It's really just kind of a documentation of the things that we've been doing over the last 2 weeks. And if you've got your site up and running, go ahead and post it now. Like go ahead and put it on the web ring. When I say post it, I mean share it by adding it to the appropriate web ring. Even if you're not done with it. And that's the great thing about the web, of course, is that it continues to evolve. Like it's not just a static thing, and that's the whole point. So I take for granted, I assume that you will continue to work on these before I even have a chance to look at them all. So that's definitely okay. So let's see if we've got anybody on the television one yet. No, it looks like we don't have anybody on the television one yet. Anyone on the gaming? Oops, I had the wrong link there. Oh, I have the wrong link on that one. Okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so it looks like that link wasn't working because this web ring is empty currently, but if your site is at all related to TV, then please post it on there, and that'll be great. All right, cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap up the streams because it's about 2:30. I will be streaming again on Monday, just a standard Twitch stream like I've been doing from home, and I will see you all on that, or you will see me on that. The next thing we're going to be doing is the kind of beginning of the things that will be building your big project. So the first, it'll be a week or two long, a week or two looking at other digital projects and kind of breaking them down to understand how they were created so that you can get some inspiration and some ideas for your own big project that you will be designing and proposing in the subsequent week. We're kind of at the midterm, and this is kind of the midterm. It's kind of the turning point of the semester where we're going to transition into helping you do this big thing that you will be designing and executing yourself, and hopefully it's going to go great. But I want to give you lots of examples, hopefully that will help. That hopefully will help inspire you and let you think about what's possible and what kind of thing you want to do for your big project for the class. So make sure you tune in on Monday to hear that explanation. All right, well, I'm going to wrap up the stream. Everyone have a good weekend, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you.